welcome back to another episode of Resin of the Living Dead. I believe this is going to be like episode 51. I'm not sure the number. Probably 51. Anyway, today we have another Christmas in July mold that we are going to be making. This is a lantern. It is multi-piece. So what we have here, it came from Temu, of course. So here's the lid. You can see has a little piece at the top, almost like a hanging type circle that you would be able to hang the lantern if you were to make it solid. And then here's the base, and the base will sit a tea light candle, and we have some battery operated ones that we'll use when it's all done. And then there are these 6 pieces, and each one has a different kind of Christmassy motif. This one has a snowman, this one has some angels, there's a Christmas tree. These are 3 Christmas trees. What is this one here? It looks like some reindeer and some bells. This one says joy, love, and peace. So what we're going to do is start with the top and the base. And I will show you, we had some leftover glitter from before, and this is what one of the sides is going to look like. It'll go in like this into the base, and there'll be 4 of them. And then the light will flicker through. So this one is this one with the angel and the tree and the stars. So we just were trying to do a test run, and it actually came out really neat. So it's a little soft because it's very thin, but we're going to put that to the side and use that later. The plan is to use green alcohol ink and red alcohol ink in the sides, and we'll do 3 in green and 3 in red. But first, what we're going to do is the base and the top. So what we're going to be using is a small tongue mica powder, and this is copper, because I want it to have a very rustic look, almost like a true metal lantern. So we're going to do the top and the bottom. We measured it out. It's about 9 ounces total. So we'll probably do a little bit more than that just to make sure that we have enough. So what I'm going to do is get my resin mixed, and we'll be right back to start pouring. See you in a moment. Alright, we are back, and we have mixed we made about 10 ounces. I know we have a little bit more than what we need, but that's okay. We've added the small tongue mica powder, the copper, and you'll be able to see here that it's got the coppery swirls in it. What we're going to do before we pour them into the molds is we are going to... Let me grab my base plate for my insert for my pressure pot, because they are going to need to go in there. And let me see if we're going to be able to fit them both on here or not. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to fit them. So we'll turn it to the side for now. And then before we begin, let's give it a quick spray and just check to make sure there's nothing in there. This one has a little bit of a groove under here, so we're going to have to be real careful when we pour. So let's start with the base. And we're just going to, this one's an easy one. He's just going to pour right on in and fill right on up. Perfect. And let's turn this a little bit, and we're gonna fill up this base. Let's try to do it from the back side so you can see. We're gonna do, if I can get my hands around here right, we're gonna pour some in, and we're gonna kind of give the bottom a squeeze, because it has that little hanger at the bottom. So we're going to just give that a little squeezy there. Alright. Now we're going to, whoops, and bump the camera. And we're going to pour it in here. We're going to try to pour it slow. I'm not worried about bubbles, but what I do want to make sure of is this ridge that you can see at the top is going to trap some I trap some air in there. So we're going to just keep pouring. We have not reached that edge yet. And you can see it's really not going into there. So we're going to take our popsicle stick and just kind of go around the edge, and we're going to have to do a little bit more resin. And we're going to get up underneath here and make sure that the resin is filling. And I hit the camera again. You can see the bubbles underneath, but they are working themselves out. Hopefully, we made 10. I hope that that's enough. We may have to make a little bit more. Not sure, maybe it's my scale. We're gonna turn it around, and we're gonna make sure, we gotta make sure that this underside gets resin in it. You can see, I can still see a couple bubbles in there. So let me try to scrape out a little bit more of this resin. If not, we're gonna make a little bit more. I don't know if you can see that those bubbles are just being stubborn. And here's one here. We gotta get that guy out. And I think we're gonna have to make just a tiny bit more to fill it up. I mean, literally, it's a smidgen. It's such a little bit. And I don't think we have enough to get out of the cup. Let's see. Literally a drop. Oops, I am horrible with hitting the... We are trying to manage every drop that we can so we don't have to make any more, but I think we're going to have to make just a fraction of it. What I'm wondering is, what would happen if I left it like that? If I didn't do a little bit more and just kind of did it this way? There's a chance it might work. Because what I'm wondering is, these pieces that sit are going to be on the outside of this. So that's really going to just be a ridge that kind of holds them in. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I am going to make a Dixie cup of this with the copper, pour it in, get that bubble out of there right there. I can see him. I can see you. He does not want to come out. Alright, so I'm going to add a little tiny bit of resin to the top, pop this in the pressure pot overnight, and then we will be back to continue with the side pieces. So I will see you in a moment. All right, we are back to demold the first part of our lantern. So we will start with the base. Oh, that looks pretty. And these are going to sit in here like this when they're done. So we're going to use that sample one we did. And then let's do the lid. I see some bubbles up here, but I'm hoping that that is just from the mold separating. Yeah, it looks like it. Thank goodness. So it's going to pop this off. Very carefully go to the top. Oh, that looks really good. No bubbles. It's clean. It looks coppery. So what will happen is once we do the others, these will go here, and then this will sit like this, and it'll sit on top. And then we will put our little candle, battery operated candle in there. And let's turn this light off for a moment just to see. But what will happen is this will sit like this. This will be on top when all four pieces are in there. So you can kind of, hopefully you can see. Let me move my hand and see. It's kind of blocking my camera view, but that's what's going to happen. So what we're going to do now is we are going to mix up some resin. Again, it's going to be the 2-part resin. And it is going to be, we're going to do all 6 of these. I don't think they're going to need a whole lot, and because we're going to use just the alcohol inks, we're going to do red and green. We'll pour these in, and then we are going to put them on our plate and into the pressure pot for 24 hours and see what we get. So what I'm going to do is I am going to mix up some resin, and then I will be right back to do the pour. And we're going to clean these up, make sure there's nothing in them, and go from there. So we'll see you back in a few seconds for you. All right, so we have mixed up our resin and added some Let's Resin green, emerald green alcohol ink. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 of them in the green, and we're going to see how we do, how much we need before we start. So we're going to pour it into the ones with the trees. So we're going to start with this one. But before we do that, real quick, let's put down our plate that's going to go into our pressure pot, because it'll be a little bit easier to move it around. Off real quick. One moment. I don't want to create any. Oh, went flying. All right, clean that off real quick. All right. So we're gonna put this on here. See if I can fit 3, because it's going to slide up into the piece. So we're going to do these 3 in green and see how much it takes. So let's start with our 3 Christmas trees. The hard part is going to be ensuring that it fills up in these spaces. So I'm going to take my popsicle stick here, and I'm going to just try to widen this just a little bit and pour it in. You can see on this side it did not fill. Let's see how this side looks. It's going to need a little bit more to I think the problem with the Dixie cups is after a moment it starts pouring out like a little more from the bottom than I'd like. But that's okay. We're just going to try to get it to fill in as much as we can. We can always clean it up on the tail end, but I don't want it to be too flat so that where we have to pour some more on the back after. I think the thing I noticed with the other one with the sparkles was that it had a little bit concave on the back. So with this we can always get in there. If it drops down too much, what we'll do is we will just give it some clear on the back afterwards. So let's just start this one. And you can see it's gonna fill it up and hopefully fill out into those the outer ring here and find its way where it needs to go. We'll pour a little bit more at the top and let it go. And we'll do the same thing we did on the other one. We're going to give this just a little bit of a pull back. Drip some in there, and then on this side too. Alright, let me try to get this open a little bit and get some poured in there. Thank goodness this plate that we're setting this on is easy to pop that off once it solidifies. So we're going to give it just a little bit more in around so it can fill out. And then we'll just we're making a huge mess on the silicone, but that's why we have it on the table and not just working directly. I think this one is good, so let's move over to our third one. And you can see we're gonna just try to get it into these stars. This was the one when I did the red with the sparkles. It kind of overflowed, but it was very, very easy to maneuver and get the edges cleaned up when we took it out of the mold. So try to again make sure that we don't have any spaces left with bubbles, because that's going to just cause a lot of problems with when we try to demold it. Move that over. There's one bubble right there. Alright, maybe in this corner I see a bubble. I'm going to put this down 1 second and just try to work that bubble out of the corner. And then what we'll do is we will scrape this down a little bit, and I can see in some spaces where it's kind of sunken in. So what we're going to do is just give it another pour a little bit here. We'll check this one again. I can see it's a little shallow here at the top. And then we'll check this one. That one looks good. Put a little tiny drop here at the top. Alright. Cool. And we're just going to scrape off this spot just so that we don't have to do too much cleanup on the tail end. Alright. Those three are good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this in the in my pressure pot tray, little holder for this, and then mix up some red, and then we'll be back to pour the red. Be back in a second. And now we are ready to go with our red, and we're going to do the same thing as we did in the other one. We're going to pour into the 3 molds. So let's just kind of turn this a little bit and work on this first one. Let's give it a little bit of a point, and we're just going to start with the center. Just try to see, there's a little snowflake pattern here. And there's a snowflake over here. And then there's a snowflake over here at the top, along with the edges, and then here, and we're going to be back to the same attempt to kind of use our stick to kind of open this up a little bit, give it a drop, and then let it kind of fill out. Try to keep it from being too much outside the mold. Set that down a second. I think we're going to let that settle in a little bit while we do the other two. So we're going to turn this a little bit just so that we can kind of see where we're working. And this one has the words. Wow, it is very detailed in trying to keep these pores. You can see it's already starting to drip down. We'll clean that up in a minute. Let's just try to see. Come over here. I see a lot of the letters that still aren't filled. Let's go up to the top and give it a little alright, so set this down a second and just give it a little scrape, kind of even it out on the top, and we're going to let that settle. Get the sides here real quick. And then this side, do it that way. set this down. You can see, I can see a little bit of bubbles in there. We're gonna just kind of work this through, especially that corner. I think we're gonna have to take the see if I can do something with that this way, or if I'm gonna need to get like a toothpick or something. And all right, I'm gonna let this one settle, and then we'll do this last one. And it's got like some ornaments at the top, like a bell. And then we're gonna fill up the deer. And then this one, this buck. And we're gonna let it settle. We're gonna put a drop in the antlers. Then we're gonna come down here to the bottom, fill the bottom up for a moment. Alright, and while that's settling, let's go back and look at the one at the top. Give him a little bit more to level him out. And at the top, we may have to make a little bit more red. Whoops. I think we're going to make just a little bit more red, and I think what we tried to do was not make too much of either of the colors, just to try to make sure excuse me, that that we didn't go overboard. Let's see. Oh, I see a spot there. Oh, bumping the camera. Alright, so what I'm going to do real quick is I think I'm going to mix up a little bit more red. Let me just see if I can see from the sides if it looks like it's okay. Actually, I think scraping it off a little bit is going to give me what I need. I do see a little bit of a corner issue, and I want to fix that before this goes into the pressure pot, and then it's going to be ready to go. So I'm going to grab my the back of my paintbrush here, because I can see here in this corner there's a little bit of a bubble. He's out. And up in this corner there's a little bit. I think that's good. Just going to give it a little bit of a turn here and see where I may need to kind of give it a little helping hand. I think that's going to be good. If you grab and to clean off this real quick. Alright, so we have a little bit of resin left. We're going to use that in one of our other molds and do something with it. So we're going to pop these in the pressure pot for 24 hours, and then we'll be back to pop these out and see the results. So I'll see you in 24 hours. All right, we are back. These pieces, the side pieces, have been in the pressure pot for about a day. So what we're going to do is we are going to demold them and see how the finished product comes out. Crossing my fingers because this is one that I'm really thinking is going to come out nice. So let's, well, the problem with these little teeny tiny molds is they really do stick. So let's very carefully pop this out. They feel a little soft. I don't know if that's because of the size of them, because they're so tiny, they're so thin. Oh, let me stay on the camera view. There was a piece of glitter in there. That's okay. So there's one. So let's move that up here. And we'll do the next one, which is going to be one of our green ones. Let me zoom out just a hair. There we go. I have to see why they're so soft, pliable. Flatten him down a little bit, but there's the second one. They look good. They look very clean, no bubbles. Love it. All right, next up is the one with the snowman in it. This would be neat. If this really works, I'm gonna definitely make more of these. I really like the copper base. It makes it look like a real lantern. That sound of the silicone mold popping out of little holes. There's our third one. Now it only uses 4, but the thought is, because they are interchangeable, you could kind of, you know, when this gets listed on eBay, you'll come with all the pieces, because then you'll be able to mix and match. That's why I did 3 green and 3 red, so you could kind of alternate them. And I'm just flattening them down a little bit. There's the tree with the candle in the middle. And this one is the peace, the joy, peace, and joy, love, and peace. It'd be nice if the joy had a hole in the middle, but that's okay. It's pretty. It looks cool. Alright, and our last one, which is our green Christmas trees. I apologize for having my hands in the way. These are so tiny. And there's the trees. It's got some gingerbread men in the front. I did not see that when we were pulling it or pouring it. That would be kind of neat to do, to paint with. Let me get a little closer and see if you can see. There you go. A little reflection of the light. You can see the gingerbread men. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to take one green and then a red here. And then we'll take another green on this side. and then the red on the opposite side. They will sit in like that, and then the lid will go on. But before we do that, before we finish that up, let's put our little light in there, and then we're going to put this like this, and we're not going to glue it down or lock it down. It's just going to be nice and easy. I wish that the lid had a groove. I think that would be a lot nicer, but it came out really nice. I tried to turn this on the table. I'm going to get my turntable out so you can see it a lot better, but it's really nice. I'm absolutely happy with the results of this one, and we'll definitely be making more of these closer to the holiday season. So while I get out my turntable and do the little completed video, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, much appreciated. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified of future videos when they are released. We're trying to do a couple a week. And if you can, also share the video so that your friends and family can see it as well. Again, thanks for watching. Merry Christmas in July, and I will see you on the next video.